How's it going, y'all? I'm wearing a sweatshirt in July because my dryer does not produce any heat and it's taking forever to do all of my clothing and get it dry. Today I'm going to touch on a few different things. I'm going to touch on why I eat the way that I eat. I guess more specifically, how do I choose what foods I do and do not eat? I've been asked a few times recently, within the past probably about 3 or 4 weeks, Rob, why don't you eat bread or wheats? And the answer to that isn't quite as simple as I thought it might be. I had originally stopped eating wheat and other grains because I had read about constituents of those foods that have negative effects on our bodies. For instance, you've probably heard gluten has some negative effects on people. There are things called lectins and phytates and just stuff like that. I won't get into what those are or what they do because I will do a terrible job explaining them and probably would not describe them accurately in the first place. So I'll provide some links below this video about why I avoid wheat and other grains. So that is why I originally stopped eating those foods. Now, after a while, I will have to admit that I didn't really notice too much of a change. I thought, oh, well, I'm not eating these things anymore, but I don't feel, crazily better. I don't know, I felt, I don't know, it's, I wasn't sure if there was any benefit to the change I had made. And so what I did was I then tried out those foods again. I took a weekend and I tried out some cake and a couple other things, some bread products. And, truthfully, I felt pretty crappy. I felt pretty crummy. I started retaining water. I got very puffy. I had dark circles under my eyes for a few days. And, I didn't feel any, crazy splitting pains or anything, but I was stopped up for a little while, and I just felt sluggish and crappy. And that is one of the reasons why I continue to no longer eat those foods. Because I removed them from my dietary habits, and upon reintroduction, they made me feel not so hot. And, I've done that a few times with a few different things, just to make sure that I was sure of what has an effect on me and what doesn't. And so I've learned over the past few years what kind of foods I personally need to steer clear of and what kind of foods that probably won't be too bad for me. Now, that being said, that's not necessarily the full story either. Not only do I see certain foods as having a negative effect on my body, but I also approach my eating habits under the idea that food serves many purposes for us. Not only is it something that brings family and friends together, which I think is very important, but it provides us with energy. It provides us with the building blocks for our body to build and repair itself. It provides us with nutrients for our body to function properly. And so a lot of times when I look at, oh, what am I going to eat? I really make the decision based on what foods are going to best satisfy those needs, what foods are going to best serve those purposes. And frankly, even without gluten or lectins or whatever else you read about on the internet, all these boogeymen, even without those, when I look at grains and other foods, a lot of times I just kind of think, why would I eat them? I mean, bread, for instance, yeah, it tastes pretty good, but what's the point? What are you going to get out of it? It's going to take a ton for you to fill yourself up and feel satisfied, and then you're probably going to be hungry again in 3 or 4 hours anyway. And what are you going to get from it? Nothing. So on the list of ways for me to nourish my body, wheat products and grain products just really aren't even remotely on the top of that list. So I'd implore you, if you're ever wondering whether you should eliminate certain foods or not, or whether you think that following some advice you read about in a magazine or saw on TV, if you're contemplating doing that, then I'd say do it. Give it a shot. At least try it. Try it out for a month. Just take a month and just see how you feel after making a change. And then after that month is up, go back to your old ways and see how you feel. And you might notice a big difference, you might not. Different people react differently to different things, so I can't tell you what you should do in terms of the specifics, but I can say that you should at least give it a shot. I think we owe it to ourselves and we owe it to our health to try something different. The status quo nowadays just we're not doing too hot in terms of our health, and I think that a lot of these dietary approaches and lifestyle approaches that are kind of frowned upon by the mainstream, I think we ought to at least give them a shot, at least give them a try, because what we're doing, if what you're doing isn't working for you, change it up. What you change to might not work for you either, but you at least tried it out. So that's my advice for you. If you're contemplating a change to your diet, or if you're contemplating a change to your lifestyle based on something that you read, if you're looking to be healthier or feel better, give it a shot. Try it out for a month or so and just see how you feel. That's I'm not a doctor and I can't tell you what to do for your health, but that's what I do. That's how I approach everything. I approach it with give it a shot and see how it affects me. So I hope you take something positive away from this video, and I hope a positive change comes about from what I've shared with you today. Thanks.